Life moves weirdly sometimes. 2 weeks ago, I still had a job. And now, I was sitting in a beach town that I didn't know existed 24 hours ago while being thousands of miles from home. But let's rewind for some context.
I use it. Oh, do you? Well, then, I don't have to say I do. I use it regularly. Well, you're not alone. Then I like it very much. You do.
It'd been a year since I graduated college. I'd embraced the monotony but relative stability of a career. But sometimes, your circumstances can change on a dime. So on a random Friday afternoon, I got laid off from my job. I remember sitting down for a while thinking, now what? Was I content with what I was accustomed to, or should I seek to alter my current environment? For just a brief moment, I could do whatever I wanted. Maybe now is the time to do something really spontaneous. So with a new perspective, this is a story on how I ended up out of anywhere in the world, Guatemala.
We're trekking through Antigua right now with my boy Conan, Jacob, and Josh. This is the start of a really bad movie.
I first ended up in a town called Antigua. The town itself is a UNESCO World Heritage Site that completely preserved the original Spanish colonial architecture. Even the local McDonald's was in a building that looked like it hadn't been touched since the 1700s. I had fully expected to do a lot of this trip solo, but as always in life, things happen a bit differently. The interesting thing about travel is that you meet some of the most outgoing people imaginable. That's why I met Jared, Jacob, and Joshua. What started off as reaching out on Instagram over the fact we'd all be in the country at about the same time turned into some of the most fun days of my life as I tagged along with them. It is a huge leap of faith to travel with people you've only met briefly, but you can meet someone for the first time and 24 hours later feel like you've known them all your life. And it's this type of openness that can only exist when you're off the beaten path. We spent the first day aimlessly walking through the town, and safe to say, we let the sights and sounds of Antigua speak for itself. So with the full day of exploring behind us, we crashed for the night with plans for a major expedition the next morning. The main reason I had chosen to go to Guatemala was to hike a continuously erupting volcano called Akatanago. I'd spent weeks mesmerized by images of it online, but I was completely unaware what I signed myself up for the actual hike. The trail started off steep and didn't level off for the next 5 hours. This was probably the hardest thing I've done both physically and mentally. I don't even have that many clips from the hike up since I was more focused on not passing out than getting footage. But seeing Akatanago for the first time was genuinely a life-changing moment. I remember sitting there for hours, watching the volcano erupt over and over again, refusing to believe that I was actually seeing this with my own eyes. This was freedom, an absence of responsibility with no restrictions on what I could or could not do. Just me in the middle of nowhere because I wanted to be there, completely breaking the routine I'd been under for over a year. I was tired, delirious, and suffering from pretty bad altitude sickness, but I was having the time of my life.
We're in beautiful Guatemala, somewhere in between San Pedro and El Paredon. I think I call this middle of nowhere.
After Akatanago, we took a shuttle to Lake Atalan, where me and the guys went cliff jumping before they headed back to America. I didn't have a plan for what I was going to do after they left, but I welcomed the chance to take things slow and just chill for a while. But this is where things started randomly aligning. In a complete coincidence, as the guys climbed onto the boat to start their journey home, out popped some people I had met in Antigua the first night I was there. And just like that, I had a whole new set of friends who I traveled with for my remaining time in the country. And it was an interesting time. We continued to explore Lake Atalan, went to a few boat parties, and even took an impromptu trip to a surf town called El Paredon. And this brings me back to the start of the video, on a beach, thousands of miles from home, with no idea what I was about to do with my life. I traveled down here searching not for the answer what my career goals could be, but to find an overarching theme on how I should live life. And I think that might be the pursuit of free will. Everyone has the free will to do really whatever they want, but too many people never act on it. We take for granted the choice of doing something new until we no longer have the capabilities to do so. Time flies a lot faster than you think when you're an adult, and these opportunities get less and less prevalent as you get older. I'm not saying to break whatever routine you have or quit your job, but be open to do something different, something uncomfortable. We grow the most when having to adapt on the fly. And what I can say from this experience to anyone watching is this: take that trip somewhere you'll be tested. Go to that hangout where you may only know 1 or 2 people. Pick up that new skill even though you'll suck at first. We don't know how long life will be, so we might as well take advantage of every unique opportunity while we still can. And now, a year later, that drive to go elsewhere in the world is still as prevalent as ever. As I count the days to my next flight, I think back on that Anthony Bourdain quote where he says, "Open your mind, get off the couch, move."